Good evening. How are you doing? Today I wanted to talk about this year's Glastonbury Festival, about as late as I possibly could, while it's still remaining vaguely relevant, I like to think, because, as always, I'm fashionably, I hope to believe, late to the party. But yeah, hey, let's talk about it. I've not watched all of it, because obviously there's so much. I didn't go. I actually missed it, to be honest with you, but I thought it was at the end of July, but it was the end of June. Easy mistake to make, who can blame me? But yeah, I'm an idiot, what can I say? So yeah, I had to catch up on a lot of live play, but the lineup was so good this year, I was looking forward to it, and I was so excited that I'd watch one gig and I just had to keep going and watch more, because there were so many I was excited to see. I just could not take my eyes off it. I just had to keep watching, so I binged a worrying amount over a concerningly short period of time. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my highlights and hopefully discuss with you what your highlights were and what you'd like to maybe see next year, who you were hoping to see, who you were disappointed by, who you were surprised by. But yeah, the first gig I watched was Idols, who I discovered via Glastonbury, I think, in 2017. Or maybe a bit later, maybe it was 2019. Either way, it was at least over 4 years ago, I think. But yeah, they just keep getting better and better and better. Their studio records have been just on an upwards climbing quality recently. It's been absolutely insane what they've been producing. Their live sets have been getting crazier and crazier for some reason, the more sober and clean Joe gets. Who'd have thunk it? But hey ho, I guess the passion is all you need, to make this kind of music, and that's why it works, that's why this kind of punk rock just works, because it's raw, it's, real emotion. Yeah, love it. This was probably my favourite Glastonbury set they've done. Their new stuff is remarkable. I think it really works amongst the old favourites. And, their energy is just unparalleled, so there was no better way for me to kickstart my Glastonbury binge, let's say. Then, who did I watch next? I think it was at Yard Act next, who I absolutely love from their studio records. I think I first heard them on the radio, I think 2 years ago, and really love them. Then I saw their NPR Tiny Disc, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. But obviously their studio releases are very deadpan and kind of dry wit, essentially, and kind of beat poetry, I guess you could call it. Probably not beat, but certainly poetry. I mean, the lyrics he writes is remarkable. The music is tight. It reminds me of the music of Dry Cleaning. If you heard of them, they also played at Glastonbury, I think last year possibly. Amazing band. I was lucky enough to see them live once, and they were absolutely amazing. It's kind of the kind of disjointed nature of Captain Beefheart's music, but put to spoken word, kind of half-spoken poetry. It's remarkable music, and it's one of those things that on first listen it kind of sounds like they're just making stuff up, they're not listening to each other at all, they're just mucking about, but then you'll listen to it again and you'll listen to other performances and it's exactly the same, and you start to realise how well rehearsed they are, how talented they are as musicians, and just how tight they are, to be honest, to be able to perform that really complex stuff night after night. It's just insane. And Yard Act was another one of my personal highlights of this festival, because it was such a surprising contrast to their studio albums. The energy was so unexpected, he was leaping about the stage, he was kind of half singing a lot of stuff, which I didn't expect. But again, the energy was just on another level. It wasn't just half spoken. His dynamic range was incredible. The way he played with his voice was incredible. The way he just owned the stage. His presence was amazing. And of course, the band was insane as always. But yeah, it just really surprised me because I wasn't expecting that kind of level of energy. I was expecting this kind of deadpan delivery, but it really wasn't that at all. So yeah, I now really want to see them live because it really wasn't what I expected at all. And it's a stark contrast in the best way possible to their studio records. So yeah, really enjoyed Yard Act. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend it. Then Aurora I watched, who I think out of my personal highlights was my least favourite, but she was still very, very good. It felt to me like she was very nervous, and it took her quite a bit of time to get used to the environment and kind of become fully comfortable on stage. Her natural stage presence wasn't immediately there like it was with other acts, in my opinion. But still, love her. She's always brilliant. Her music is gorgeous. Her voice was sublime for this performance. Her tuning was just on point. It was perfect, even in the most complex of motifs. She just nailed it every time, and she made it look so effortless as well. Once she'd relaxed, the way she could just soar these gorgeous, gorgeous themes, and belt it out to the back of Glastonbury Festival. It was remarkable to witness. Yeah, so again, she was brilliant, but one of my lesser act of my favourite artists who have performed. But that's nothing to take away from her because she was still brilliant. Then who else did I watch? At the Last Dinner Party, who again were incredible. I'd say I just rank them slightly above Aurora. Sorry. Again, the music was sublime. I think it was their Glastonbury debut, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was. Obviously, they're a relatively new band, so to be performing on this scale and their level of growth recently has just been rapid. It's been so good to see because they deserve absolutely everything they've got. I first heard of them via the Graham Norton show. They performed Nothing Matters, obviously their biggest hit single. And the performance of that on this stage was, again, remarkable. They nail it every time, but alongside all their new stuff, they performed an unreleased track as well, which is brilliant. But, again, all of the classics, all of the new stuff, it just worked so well. The singer, Abigail, she's called it, isn't she? Yeah, Abigail. Her voice is just gorgeous. The way she can move it from her lower register to a gorgeous soprano, it's so admirable. To watch. Again, she's just one of those who makes it look effortless, and her tuning is never off. Regardless of how she's dancing about the stage or however much passion she's putting into it without really caring about the tuning, she's just naturally on it every single time. It's incredible. She's so talented. And again, the band are completely tight. Gorgeous music, gorgeous arrangements with flutes, and some synths and keyboards. It's just amazing. And then who else did I watch? I think the only other band I've watched is my personal favourite, to be honest, The National, who recently became my favourite band, above The Cure and Pink Floyd. I think they just came into my life at the right time. It's not because their music is on the same level as Pink Floyd. It's or The Cure even. It's just their lyrics and music just spoke to me. At this point in my life, it was just the right band to come into my life at this stage. So they have a very special place in my heart. The lyrics they write are absolutely gorgeous. They're incredibly relatable, if not a bit dark and depressing at times. But I love moody music. You probably know that by now. So, if we're going to get a bit sad and depressed, I do not mind because the music is absolutely incredible. But the energy that Matt brought to this performance was second to none. I've never seen him perform like it. I think as he gets older, I think during kind of the 2000s when they were, at their peak, I don't think that's fair to say because I think they've been at their peak for 2 decades, but possibly when they were most famous and bringing out their biggest hits. I feel like he was very cool. He was a very cool singer. I don't think he even tried to be. I think that was just his natural persona at that time. But now, as he's gotten older, I just don't think he cares what people perceive him as. And he just went for it. He gave it 250%. He was exhausted, about 2/3 of the way through. But boy, did that not stop him. He was going forward, and he did not stop. The way the band were carrying him, and motivating him to keep going. It was amazing to see. Of course, the band. I cannot not mention the band. The Desna twins, Aaron and Bryce, two insanely talented solo artists in their own right. I actually first discovered Bryce before I heard of the National. I listened to his solo piano works actually and a few of his film soundtracks. Then heard that he was in this band and fell in love. And then I saw that the guitarist was his twin brother, and then I started exploring his solo work and was just blown away. The talent in that family is second to none. They're absolutely incredible. Excluding the band, they could have just had just as successful careers just on their own. It's remarkable what they've achieved. The way how they managed to find the time to still perform in that band is just remarkable, in my opinion. But yeah, if anything, though, I was a bit disappointed with the set list because I wanted them to perform maybe 6 or 7 songs that they didn't do. Things like Apartment Story, Runaway, Ada, Racing Like a Pro, Vanderlei, Crybaby Geeks. I thought they might close with that, the acoustic version where they sing unplugged with the crowd alongside. I'm Afraid of Everyone as well. I don't often see them perform that live, so I don't think it's kind of a staple in their sets. But yeah, the fact that they didn't perform most of my favourite tracks, and I still enjoyed it as much as I did, just goes to show what an incredible performance it was. So yeah, that was my personal favourite. It was always going to be my personal favourite because they're my favourite band. And they were the main reason I was looking forward to this year so much. So yeah, please listen to them if you haven't already. Remarkable band. Yeah, their studio releases are just so powerful, and this live performance was ecstatic. It was on another level. Yeah, I still want to watch some more. Apparently Coldplay was very good. I'm not a huge fan of their music typically, but this live performance in particular has just been raved about and received a lot of praise for, so I will watch that at some point, I think. And Little Sims was apparently very good. I am a fan of rap. Run the Jewels, Cool Keith I love. Stormzy is incredible. Kate Tempest, she's performed at Glastonbury a lot. Love her. So yeah, I will watch her at some point, I think. But yeah, Dua Lipa I've not seen as well. I might watch her because she was obviously the main headliner of the weekend. I've not listened to a lot of her music, but I've listened to enough to know that I like her. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see what she's like in a live context. I imagine it's, wild as ever. But yeah, those were my personal highlights. I'd love to know yours, what you thought of this year. Yeah, please, let's talk about it. I would love to know everything you thought about it. other than that, thank you very much for listening. I hope you're feeling good and doing well, and I will speak to you again very soon. Bye bye.